legendary climber who broke mountaineering's ice ceiling by leading the first women-only and first American ascent of Nepal's most challenging peak, visionary scientist whose groundbreaking research into harmful chemicals in customer goods sparked public outcry, spurred new regulations, and protected our children. Arlene Blum, you have lived a life of daring discovery on high-altitude exploits and in high-stakes projects. You believe that scientists and mountain climbers share two vital characteristics, determination and optimism, and have embodied both. You have defied gender-based bias, demanded the removal of dangerous toxics from consumer goods, and assembled scientists, manufacturers, and policymakers to pursue environmental health and justice. Your advocacy has helped to remove millions of pounds of toxics from consumer products worldwide, from couches and cosmetics to windbreakers and hiking boots. A childhood of Midwestern winters conditioned you to stepping 1 foot at a time through tough conditions. You then graduated from Reed College, went on to MIT, and later earned a doctorate in biophysical chemistry at UC Berkeley, followed by a Stanford postdoc, where you made major contributions to the science of protein folding. In 1977, you sounded the alarm from your Berkeley laboratory after confirming that chlorinated tris, a flame-retardant chemical used in children's pajamas, is a carcinogen. Within months of your report, chlorinated tris and related compounds were banned from sleepwear. Meanwhile, you heard the ever louder call of climbing. You braved ferocious storms and arduous ascents, but you also overcame a male-dominated mountaineering industry. In the 1960s, you were once invited to join an expedition, but only as a base camp cook. So you organized your own climbs. You co-led an all-women expedition to Denali. You completed the Great Himalayan Traverse, and you led the first all-women and first American ascent of Nepal's Annapurna 1, considered the most treacherous of the Himalayan giants. After cresting many summits, raising your daughter, and writing 2 acclaimed books, you heard a disturbing scientific echo in 2006. Your chemical nemesis, chlorinated tris, had found a home in household furniture foam. At age 61, you returned to science to lead a new series of challenging expeditions, confronting chemicals that can harm every living creature on our planet. You founded Green Science Policy Institute in 2007 and serve as executive director. Your unwavering efforts have been widely recognized. A 2008 Purpose Prize, a 2014 Consumer Warrior Award, a 2017 Women in Sustainability Leadership Award from the Green Building Council, a 2018 Congressional Proclamation, a 2018 induction into the California Hall of Fame, and most recently, at last, your induction into the Hall of Mountaineering Excellence in Colorado. That all may know of our esteem for you and your high-impact leadership as a frontline biophysical chemist, a barrier-breaking mountaineer, and a steadfast environmentalist who has worked tirelessly to help others and to protect our planet. The university does, therefore, confer upon Arlene Blum the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto, given this 21st day of May, in the year of our Lord 2022, and of the university the 167th in San Francisco, California.
Members of the Board of Trustees, President Fitzgerald, Provost Opara, Dean Fung, faculty and university staff, staff, family, friends, and graduates, good morning. I am just so moved and honored to see all your wonderful faces out there and the diversity and the enthusiasm of this class. It's just, you look fantastic. So big congratulations to all of you. And big congratulations to your families back there who've supported you for so long. I'm so honored to be here and have this opportunity to speak to you. And I'd like to begin sharing with you a guiding principle of my life, Tikkun Olam. Does anyone know what it is? Raise your hand if you know. Not yet. You will. And what does Tikkun Olam mean? It's Hebrew for repairing the world. Say it after me. Tikkun Olam. Okay, remember that. As a mountaineer, I've had the privilege of seeing the beauty of our planet from some of the highest points. When together with my teammates, I reach the top of a high icy peak and see clouds at my feet and beautiful peaks stretching to the horizon, I rejoice at the beauty and diversity of our world. And walking to the base of these mountains to begin my climbs, I've begun to get to know the hospitable mountain people and experience the wondrous beauty of our planet. Although our world has extraordinary beauty, there's also pain and suffering and sadness. And it's always been my guiding principle to try to make the world a little better in any way I can, as in Tikkun Olam, healing the world. When I was younger, I would bring people together to achieve challenges in the outdoors, give women opportunities, explore regions where Westerners had never been before. But the last 15 years, I've had the privilege of leading the Green Science Policy Institute. We're scientists who are using the best science to stop the use of harmful chemicals in everyday products, which makes all of us and the whole world a little healthier. So it's been a great privilege for me and another example of Tikkun Olam. And I will say that Brandon, who introduced me, has taken a year off from the university to be the deputy director at our institute. And I want to thank Brandon for doing that. It's a privilege working with him. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story, even though you've already heard a bit of it from Brandon. So I've had a really unusual career path, and many people increasingly do, and your career path might be very different than you expect. In the 1970s, I wanted to climb Denali, the highest mountain in North America. The leader said women could only come to base camp and help with the cooking because women were not physically strong enough or emotionally stable enough to climb the highest mountains. Can you believe that? That was a long time ago, of course. I was about your age then. And I'd climbed higher than Denali already in Peru, but it was with a team of men. And I realized as long as I climbed as the only woman with a team of men, people could question, had I done my share? So I thought, could a team of all women climb Denali? And in those days, that was a very radical thing to try to dream up, but I found 5 other women, and we did climb Denali. And for me, that was the first example that once you have a picture of something, no matter how hard, you find your team, and you can do that. And as you heard, back in the 70s, all American children wore pajamas that contained toxic chemicals that ended up inside the children. We learned this. I was about to write a scientific paper telling the parents of America that their kids' pajamas all contain toxic flame retardants. And then I got the opportunity to climb Mount Everest. And at that point, Mount Everest had only been climbed once by Americans in 1963. No American woman had ever even gotten to try Everest. So I had a terrible decision. Would I stay and tell the parents of America that their children's pajamas had harmful chemicals, or would I go try to be the first American woman to climb Mount Everest? So let me just ask you, how many of you would have stayed and worked on the pajamas? And how many of you would have gone to Mount Everest? Well, I did both. So while we were climbing through the wondrous great comb of Everest and up the glaciers and ice faces, I'd get to my tent every night and write my paper. And our team did climb Everest. I sent the paper by mail runner from Mount Everest to Kathmandu. It was published in Science magazine. And 3 months later, Tris was removed from kids' pajamas, which made probably your parents safer. So then my career took a really different twist. I did a lot of expeditions. I did leadership training. I had a family. And when my daughter was starting college, I wanted to go back to science. And I thought, I haven't done science for 26 years. Is it possible? Maybe I can get a job washing test tubes in a lab. I really felt after a 26-year break, I would be out of date with science. So I went to a green chemistry meeting, and there was a guy from the foam industry there. And I always talk to industry people, and he said, what do you do? And I said, well, I did flame retardants. I worked on them but 26 years ago. And he said, flame retardants? Well, we make all the foam for couches and cushions, and we have this flame retardant, and we're worried about it. It's called chlorinated tris. And I said, oh my God, that's the same flame retardant we got out of kids' pajamas. It's back in our furniture, and it was. And that started my new career. And I thought it took 3 months to get the flame retardants out of the kids' pajamas in the 70s. Well, it took 10 years because of incredible opposition from the chemical industry. But we were able to change a bad regulation, so if you go buy furniture, there'll be a label on it that says contains no flame retardants. Because the flame retardants did not put out fires, they were just there for the profit of the chemical producers. So that's what we do at our institute. We use good science to solve problems that make a difference for people. Right now, our world is badly in need of healing. From Ukraine to the politics of voting in the United States, we need to recognize that a struggle is occurring between democracy, which includes everyone in government to benefit everyone, and autocracy, the government of the few to benefit the few. And I'm going to say right now, one of the actions we all can and should take to support our democracy and help heal the world for Tikkun Olam is to register, vote, and encourage others to do the same. Voting is an important privilege and necessary for our democracy. Can you guess if the United States is in the top 15% or the bottom 15% of leading countries in terms of percentage of people voting? How many say top 15%? Nobody. How many say bottom 15%? Sadly, you're right. It is indeed tragic that the United States is 30th out of 35 leading countries in terms of how many people vote. And who do you think votes the most? How many think younger people vote the most? How many people think older people vote the most? Yes, you're right. Voter turnout in the last election, which was higher than it ever been before, was 3/4 of people 65 and over voted, while less than half of people 24 and under voted. And it's the future for young people. It's your future. To help the world, I encourage you to be sure you're registered, vote, and encourage all your friends to do the same. We need everyone to participate in our democracy to maintain it. So now I'm going to talk about something that's happening today. It's the Berkeley Himalayan Fair. Anybody ever heard of the Berkeley Himalayan Fair? Not an East Bay crowd. So about 40 years ago, I spent a year walking across the Himalayas. It was amazing. I walked across Bhutan, Sikkim, Nepal, and India for 10 months. And everywhere there was an amazing festival. And so I came back to Berkeley and I thought, let's have a Himalayan festival in Berkeley. And it's the Himalayan Fair. And it's another different example of Tikkun Olam. The purpose was to connect the people of the Bay Area with the people of the Himalayas. And by sharing art, culture, and food from different communities, the Himalayan Fair helps foster understanding across differences. This makes the world better also. And right now is a time of such racial and cultural difference that has led to such extraordinary pain and suffering. We need to understand and appreciate other cultures. So in case any of you are looking for something to do tomorrow, the Himalayan Fair is in North Berkeley. You can Google Himalayan Fair. Come see me. I have a booth right across from the entertainment, so come say hello. Maybe I'll see you at the Himalayan Fair. So I hope that these examples of repairing the world, Tikkun Olam, can help you in your lives moving forward. You can find a problem that needs to be solved. Find something to make the world better. Choose your own goal that resonates in your mind and your heart. Then find others who share your goal, your vision of a better world for all. Once you have your objective and your team, you can plan your route together. Then it's a matter of climbing the mountain, moving step by step, slowly and steadily towards your goal. There will always be obstacles, avalanches, storms, loss of direction, likely an occasional Yeti or two will pop up in your path, but with your vision and determination, your team can move steadily towards your goal and improve the world. I hope during your lives moving forward, you will take what you've learned during your wonderful years at the University of San Francisco, what you care about in your heart, and believe in your own vision to find your team and help in your own way for Tikkun Olam to move towards a better world. This is indeed a challenging time to be setting forth in your life. A vision of healing the world has been an important and stable factor in my life, and I hope you will consider it in yours. So I hope you will join me in this endeavor for Tikkun Olam, healing the world. Thank you.